Welcome to Network Marketing Pro. My name is Eric Worre, and I'm here today with $1 Million earner, Adam Green. Adam, how are you?
Really good. Thanks for having me, Eric.
It's my pleasure. And you flew in here from where?
Red Deer, Alberta, Canada.
Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. I told you before we started this interview that I've had more fun with my friends in Canada than any place on earth. All the different countries I've been around, the people in Canada know how to have a lot of fun, right?
I like to think so. I'm glad that we got that spot in your heart.
Yeah, that's it's an absolute fact. Tell me how old you are.
26.
26 years old. And you got started in this profession at what age?
I dabbled as a hobby for a few years, and I went full-time at 22, so just over 4 years ago, almost exactly.
Full-time at 22. And before we get into your network marketing journey, your story, talk to me about growing up. What was it like for you as a kid growing up? What were your hopes and dreams? What were your influences growing up?
My parents, probably my biggest influence. They made the decision early on they won't have a parent at home all the time, so my mom was the working professional. She was a physiotherapist and acupuncturist. So my dad was a stay-at-home dad with myself and my 3 siblings. And I just, I always looked up to him for, taking that role, and I didn't realize that that was maybe a different role than other dads had all the time, but he ran the back end of the business. And so we had entrepreneurship, I guess, in our family from a traditional business sense, because I saw them running their own schedules and owning their business. But I still probably had the mindset of I had good grades in school, and I was encouraged to go to college and go that route to get my best hope at a good future.
Right. So you do you have brothers or sisters?
Older brother, younger sister.
Okay, 2 brothers and a sister. How about them? And they're growing up. Do they have the same kind of aspirations as you did?
Yeah. I think we got a smart family. Both my brothers are engineers. My sister went to same college, same program I did in kinesiology, and has a health and wellness background as well. So we've all done our time through the post-secondary system, some more than less. My sister and I did 2 years. My brothers did 5.
Right. Okay, so you get out of high school and you go to a couple years of college, and then what happens? What was the next step for you?
I went straight from college right into the workforce. I started working as a personal trainer, and I was planning on doing a 3rd year of college, but I decided to buy a house instead. So the deposit for tuition was due the same day as the deposit for a down payment, and I had a decision to make. I went with the down payment and just started working, which looking back I'm quite happy with that decision. So I started working as a personal trainer, and I loved helping people and being part of that journey. But I also realized that it probably wasn't the best or the ideal long-term plan for me. I was making $25,000 to $30,000 a year, split shifts, early mornings, late nights. Basically, when someone else isn't working, I was working. So I had enough foresight in my early 20s to be open-minded to looking at other ways to earn an income, which is kind of what led me towards network marketing.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that get involved in personal training, the fitness world.
Yep.
And they're a little bit trapped by their passion.
Yes.
They're so passionate about it, they do it for free, and they end up practically doing it for free.
Well, most do.
They're out there, and it's you can't really own a particular thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of own a niche within that space. You just have to work hard. You're trading time for money, helping people, and that can be rewarding. But as you said, it can also, for somebody with bigger goals and bigger dreams, it can be a little bit limiting.
Yep.
So you were open-minded. So that caused you to
take a look.
To start looking.
Yep.
Now, were you actively looking, or just were you open if someone was going to share something with you?
I was actively looking after I was introduced to a network marketing opportunity meeting. A friend from high school, we got together over Christmas, said, come take a look. I don't know exactly what he said, but I went to support and just take a look. I didn't really know what I was looking at.
You're just being a good friend.
Yeah, and it was very intriguing, and I was interested. I went to a few other meetings, but I decided I didn't want to go that route, so my interest was perked, and then I began shopping. So I went to a few different meetings, and...
So what, did you just, the product wasn't for you or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just didn't buy into the whole picture, and I just grew up my parents, they taught me, like, if you're not all in, then it's not worth being 95% or 99%. So I wanted to be all in on something. So I started shopping, started looking at a couple different events, meetings, companies, and nothing really fit, but I was still excited about the opportunity. So at every meeting, I was ready to buy the big kit.
Right.
But I never did. I always just slept on a little bit and kept looking for something that ideally fit. And through that, I came to the realization very quickly that, so I grew up around network marketing products, but I didn't know it was really network marketing. My parents weren't builders when I was growing up. And so once I started looking, they, specifically my mom was not exactly super thrilled with the direction I was going, because she's thinking, if you want to do network marketing, you should be, partnered with us, and you grew up around this stuff. But
I see.
But because I never seen it as a network marketing opportunity, I just saw products, and I didn't really know. I was not exactly interested. And as you and I both know, however we're introduced to something is how we think, we have to do it as well. So I saw my mom as a practitioner in a clinical practice. It didn't fit for me as a young guy, so I just began looking for where I could fit. And eventually I realized, I use the product anyway, I recommend it, this probably would be the best fit. And they showed me how to kind of replace my income.
So mom was a little disappointed.
Yeah. And my dad was much more along the lines of let him make his own decision.
They weren't disappointed in your decision to be entrepreneurial.
No.
Or be involved in network marketing. They just wanted you to work with them.
Yes.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
That's natural. I could see that. I could do that. Oh, well, if you're going to do it, why not come over here?
Yeah, like looking back, it was probably almost the biggest form of rejection. We talk about dealing with friends and family and how that can hurt the most. And having, your son who, they've been giving me lots of products all throughout my childhood. So they had invested a lot in me, and they knew, there's a good potential there. And it probably also didn't help that the company I was potentially excited about was not one that they held in high regard. So eventually I came to the light, and it's been a great partnership. It's been really good for them to have that extra income that we've been able to provide. And
sure,
it's an interesting relationship. It did. It all worked out in the end.
But you needed to kind of stick to your guns a little bit.
Yeah, and hindsight, like as a kid, I realized that anyone else could have told me about it, and I probably would have been listened. And one of my friends did tell me about it. But hearing it from them, they had tried to tell me before, but I was not open-minded hearing it from them.
Yeah, sometimes you can't hear certain things from
the people
family
closest
members
to you.
Or your close friends. You know them too well. There's too much familiarity.
Yeah, the fortunes in the follow-up. They followed up with me a few times.
Well, everything seemed to work out.
Yeah.
For everybody, right?
Yes.
So you finally make this decision. Say, okay, I'm going to do this. Did you start part-time? Were you still doing your personal training?
Yeah, I still fit in that kind of role of using it as an additional service, products with the training, and whatever I was doing, I'd try and work them in somehow. And then it reached a point where I was earning enough part-time. I had some rental income from renting some rooms to my house that I kind of replaced my personal training income, and I'm very fiscally responsible, so I always was making sure I had a good savings account. And it reached a point where I wanted to take it a little more seriously, and having that job was not conducive to that. So I reached a point where I just had to either go all in and make a decision. So I decided Canadian Thanksgiving, beginning of October, that I was going to...
Beginning of October what year?
2011.
2011.
I decided, I'm going to give my notice, and I'm going to go
notice
all
to
in.
who?
To my employer. Said,
oh, you
I was still
worked
working.
for a personal training company.
Yeah,
oh,
so I was
you just did freelance.
Yeah, no, I was a private personal trainer. It's a complete private facility, so I was employed, and I just worked within the facility. So I gave my employers notice, 3 weeks, said November 1st, I'm out. I'm going all in with my business, and yeah, that was a...
What do you recommend for it sounds like, how much were you earning in your network marketing business when you made that decision?
Probably on average like 800 to 1,000.
1,000 a month, but you had some rental income.
Income.
How much was the rental income?
1,000, 1,200.
Okay, so you had that plus a little bit of savings.
Yep.
So you had a couple thousand a month as a little bit of a safety net.
Basically covered the mortgage, and then I had some savings I'd been working on. My parents told me, we're not paying for your college, so I paid for all my own college. I just learned to save money and to spend it wisely. And so my thought process was, if I if I quit my job and I go this route, if it doesn't work, I can sit on this for a year and a half, whatever, and then I got to go and get another job again. But the upside to it is if I made it work more and I made an extra couple thousand or whatnot, then I didn't need to go back that route. So it was kind of like I was just looking at what the pros versus the cons were, and
Right.
it worked out.
Yeah. So many people in network marketing, the reason why I ask is so many people in network marketing are part-time people
Yeah.
that and I'm a little bit like you. When I first got involved in the profession, age 22, I jumped in hard. After like 30 days of still trying, I was selling real estate at the time. It was my last
Yep.
job. After like 30 days of trying to do both, I went, oh, this is, I didn't
Not
like
gonna
it.
work.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like my mind being divided that way. So I just decided I'm gonna leap and hope the net appears, right?
Yeah.
So I burned my bridges and I went. And it was a good decision for me. But I'm a risk taker
By
type
nature.
of a person.
Yeah.
Do you think it's necessary for a person to make that leap and go full time in order to be successful in network marketing? Or do you think they can do it part time?
I think they can do it part-time to a point, because I know if I had kept my job, that was still in my mind my plan A. This is a plan B, it was supplemental. So I didn't really lock down myself in my business until I kind of burned that bridge and went all in. If I'd stayed at my job another 6 months, a year, I wouldn't have had the same results. I know it. And maybe we'd be sitting here a year from now and having a similar result whenever I made that decision. But for me, it reached a point where I had to make a choice.
The focus was worth it for
Yeah.
you to be able to just totally lock in. How about people in your organization? What do you recommend for people?
Our demographic is predominantly younger parents, middle-aged parents. So a lot of their big motivation is first just to earn enough money to be at home maybe with their kids. And so it's a delicate balancing act, but for most of them, this is still secondary income to their household. And if they can just earn enough to cover what their childcare would be, then it's a good decision for them. And then it's balancing the full-time job of being a parent and their business, which is
Right.
even harder than a job, I would think, because kids are a lot of work.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I don't got any yet.
Not any yet. You're
Newlywed still, going on 2 years.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, great. Let's. I just think it's an interesting topic to talk about because the people who decide to really go after it, and the people who decide to kind of inch towards it and develop more belief and develop more skills as they go. I think both paths can work.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you. At some point,
It reaches a breaking point.
the cost of focus hits a point where you just say, well, I'd rather just hit it.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
And I think so
But
logically.
you were responsible before that.
Yes, I was not
you had
putting
saved
my
the money.
financial situation in harm. I had a
You
nest
had a
egg.
plan.
Yes.
You had a nest egg as a young man. You had a nest egg. You had some savings. You had the ability to be able to withstand some months
Yeah.
of no income if that would happen.
I figured if after a year it didn't work, I'd go be a trainer again. Like
Yeah.
there's more than enough opportunity for someone who's sharp and wants to put in the work. And I took my job seriously then, just like I take my business seriously. I treat everything the same way. And I think if you treat everything and with 100%, you'll find success in whatever you choose to do.
Right. So you make the decision. You give the notice. 3 weeks go by, and then you launch. Tell me about that initial first 30, 60, 90 days.
Probably actually anticlimactic, because I went from having somebody dictate my schedule and having that control to diving in full time to me being the boss, which was a very interesting adjustment that I don't think you ever really get over.
You're used to somebody telling you where to be
What
and
to
what
do,
to do.
exactly. So when you're managing everything yourself, it was really easy to either put something off or procrastinate a little bit. So I'd say for the first 2 months, I was more unemployed than an entrepreneur, maybe. And then January comes around, it's more of the New Year's resolution. I'm gonna really hammer in. And so I just tried to be active. So I did anything possible to get some exposure in the marketplace. I started doing different expos and events, anything I could to get some exposure, which,
Keep yourself busy.
yes. Because at least if I was out of the house and I was meeting people, I figured this is a good scenario for success.
You're giving yourself a chance for something good to happen.
Yes, I felt more productive. So that I love your diagram of some of the limiting self-beliefs of doubt and worry versus action. So the more action I took, all the other limiting beliefs went away. And I did an event in January, and it was a mom and baby expo, which was well out of my comfort zone. Young guy, no kids. I'm not a mom or a baby. so it was an interesting event, put me way out of my comfort zone, which was a good thing. And I met some great people at that event, which led to some home events. Again, I didn't understand the power of a home event and how easily they might be to replicate. And some of those home events really went well, got some great enrollments, and it kind of carried our momentum forward. So I just kept doing more and more of those, trained those out, had great people come on board, and we had really good success. First 6 months, I probably doubled my income in that first 6 month period.
So by the time you got to 6 months in, your first 2 months you probably didn't make very much.
No.
The third month probably didn't make very much, but you made some contacts.
Yeah. And ever since January of 2012, every single month I've consistently enrolled at least one new person in my business personally. I think my career average is like 2.75 or something. So I just consistently tried to bring in people, model that example, and then train others to do the same thing.
So after 6 months, your monthly income was about how much from your network
Probably
marketing
about
business?
$1,500 to $2,000.
$1,500 to $2,000 a month after 6 months.
Yeah.
So you're on track,
Yeah.
right? So you're like, okay, maybe I don't have to use up all my savings. Maybe this is
If I
going to
can
work.
just keep floating.
I just keep moving forward. You're building something. Now, the good news of you're starting your business as a young man, you didn't have to invest $100,000 to start it.
Yeah.
It was just time
Yes.
and effort, right? And a little bit to whatever it took to get going effectively in your business. So now you're up to a couple thousand a month, and tell me about the next 6 months. What did that look like?
The fall of that year was the biggest part of our build. We had our convention in June. Bob Proctor was a keynote speaker that year, and he really challenged me mentally to kind of break through either limiting beliefs and what was holding me back. And I left that event more committed to my business. It's probably my first real big game-changing event where I could clearly see a distinctive difference in myself and how I was able to, as a young guy, lead a group of people. Because until then, I was still 22 years old, 23 at that point, I think. I had a lot of growing to do to be able to lead older people and have them see me in a certain way, carry myself in a certain way. And so that fall was our real big build. We saw a lot of momentum take off from there. And it was...
Tell me about this transition that you made from making the decision that you were good enough to lead older people. Because I had the same challenge when I was 22 years old. How do you talk to somebody who's 40 and had been in business for 20 years and, have the same posture? I had my little breakthrough of what happened for me, but what got you to the point where you started to feel a little bit more comfortable with it?
Repetition was a huge thing. Just the more I did it, the more comfortable I felt. I got better at it. And I tried to dress a little bit above what I probably normally would have. Coming from a trainer, I was wearing sweatpants all day and workout clothes. So I tried to just fit a role where people would look, and although I might look like I was 18 or 19 or 22.
Sharp 18, 19, yeah.
Exactly, because especially once we started transitioning to our business training and trying to lead people with financial choices, you have to really give some confidence in that. I'm putting my hands in like a 23-year-old kid who I'm supposed to follow into the horizon with this network marketing business. So a lot of it came to my own personal development, some books I would read. I read Think and Grow Rich right after that event because it's a Bob Proctor event. And I started looking at some Darren Hardy stuff. I just come across the 4-year career, GoPro, some of these things that were coming into the marketplace because I came from no network marketing training, no background, no system. So a lot of the things were just really working on myself. And as I worked on myself, I was able to, I think, find better people, bring out more in others, and really grow myself and my business at a similar time frame. And we saw an explosion in the fall of 2012, spring of 2013.
What characterized that explosion? What happened in the fall? outside of you making a decision in June and saying you're going to up your game, what happened in the fall that really tipped it?
We had a lot of great new people come on board who caught a vision for their business, and I think I was able to, help them see that vision a little clearer and brighter. And then there were some transitions within the company. They actually had a new comp plan, a revamping right in that fall spring season, and
A lot of people, that will slow them down.
yeah, and a lot of the people who had been around in the company previously, it did, because they got caught up in
didn't slow you down.
change. But I hadn't built enough of a real leadership group that the change really affected people, because most of them are not at that point where it was really affecting their mindset. They might not even know how the comp plan worked. They were kind of hobbyists at that point too. So the comp plan actually really helped us develop some momentum, and it made it easier, I believe, in the initial beginnings of building.
Yeah.
And because that's where we were at, I think our total group at that point was maybe 500, 450, 500 people.
450, 500 is pretty good over the course of 8 months or 9 months.
Yeah, so going into when I left my job, I probably had about a base of 200 people that was making me that $800,000.
Okay. So you grew it
So we
another
had basically
3,000
doubled our
or
group a
300.
little bit in that year-long period. And then in the next year, we went from like 500 to 3,000, 4,000 people. So it really took off.
Interesting. And the reason why I find it interesting to talk about the compensation plan change and dealing with change, that the change itself is really an illusion,
Yep.
right? The people who are involved in the business for a long time, they let it mess up their head and it was a head game. Had nothing to do with reality.
Products
The same
are the
exact
same.
compensation plan you guys had, but because you didn't have all that baggage in your mind, you can move forward with a lot of excitement. And you used it as a leap forward, and other people were complaining it was slowing them down.
Yep.
So anybody out there that's dealing with a compensation plan change, just understand it's your mindset that's going to determine what the acceleration is going to be or the deceleration is going to be.
Yeah.
The mindset of you and your team and the leadership. The other thing that I'll just comment before we move on the young person thing is I had to reframe my brain. I'll tell you how I did it at 22. One, instead of being just a young kid, I tried to think of myself as a whiz kid. Like a young Bill Gates or whatever. You know what I mean? No, I'm like you. You want to get around me because I can see where this thing is going to go, and I've got the energy to be able to make it happen. Okay. So that was one part of where I tricked my mind, instead of just this inexperienced kid. I know I was a whiz kid. And the second was I learned to act like the most confident people I knew. I carried myself like they did. Mm-hmm. I used the words that they used when they talked to prospects. So I copied what they did, and I said what they said, and I got the results of that they got. If I did it with enough confidence, people looked at me as a whiz kid, and I was like, oh.
I'm the whiz kid.
I'm the whiz kid. Off we go. So anyway, it worked for me because I was super insecure at the beginning. I just, person would roll their eyes and pat me on the head and say, that's a cute little thing you got going, kid. That would crush me at the very beginning, but then eventually, nah. I'm like, hey, listen, I learned to say to 40-year-olds, I know you're not happy. I know you're not. You can pretend that you just love your career. I know you're not. I know you want something more in your life. I know you want something better in your life. Well, why not explore? If not this, explore something.
Yeah.
Find something that's going to light your fire, because I know working in that cubicle isn't doing it. So some of them would get offended, like, who do you think you are? And I'm like, well, I'm just a guy who sees stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so pretty soon we'd have a reasonable conversation. All right, so you're at like 500 by that fall, and then all of a sudden you kick it into another gear. What was some of the defining factors over the course of that next year that helped you take it from 500 to 3,000-4,000?
Our activity level went up. You do more, you get more.
So you just kept that discipline of staying active.
Yes.
So that was a really good kind of early habit for you.
Yep.
Whatever you're going to do, just stay active. Get out of the house,
It's easier to keep going than to stop and start and stop and start. I just tried to keep going and knew that persistence would
Keep
hopefully pay
moving,
off.
teach other people to do the same thing. Just go meet people wherever you can, teach other people to do the same thing. Good things will happen.
Yes.
All right.
And the leadership that we've been building at that point was really starting to grow into their own. They started seeing it even more as their own business, not mine. And I can't say enough about my people. They became some of my greatest friends, and working with them and helping them build a better financial future for themselves was super rewarding. And we just had a lot of people who decided that they were going to treat their business seriously, much like a decision I had made earlier, but they were making those decisions in their business, and we've got a lot of people really making those decisions. It was just creating a phenomenal momentum for us moving forward, and there was a lot of rank advancements throughout time, and I think rank advancements drive excitement. People see that social belief. In that time frame from June of 2012, where we're at the convention, to the next convention, I had rank advanced 3 times to diamond in the comp plan. So that was a really big deal. It made me the
So from the
youngest
first
one.
Bob Proctor, thing that lit you up, to the second one, you're now 23?
3. Maybe it was
23, 24.
Something like that.
Something like that. That next conference you went to,
Diamond level.
is that the top?
It was a second from the top.
Second from the top position in the company.
Yep.
Was that a big deal?
It was. They gave me a keynote spot in the leadership session, and it was a real big deal. I was youngest person, I think the only person under 30 or 35 at that point. So it was a real big shift over, and no one had really done that before at that point, jumping that many ranks at once. And so there was a lot of excitement, energy. Maybe people were excited about being part of that as well. And
What was it like? What was that keynote like?
well, looking back, it was a little shaky, but I grew through that process. Every time I get up on stage, I grow a little more, and I was just excited to be up there. I think it was 15 minutes. I probably don't remember much of what I said unless I rewatched it, because I blanked right out. But it was so cool to go from being in the crowd, looking up on stage a year prior, and I think one of the things Bob Proctor was saying was, who's going to be a diamond next year? Stand up, be excited. And everyone was excited. And I think he said something like, well, most of you aren't going to do it. You're going to leave here and you're not going to take that same energy forward. And I challenge you to be the person to come back and do it. So that was my goal, was to come back at that rank. And I went and I collected the different neck lanyards you get at these conventions. And so I collected the lanyards of every rank above, and he had these goal cards, and so I stuck the date and time that I wanted to hit each rank, and I stuck them up in my wall at home. And so I was constantly, envisioning the date, the rank. Within 3 months, I jumped rank. It was every 3 to 4 months I had popped a new rank, and a lot of new members in our team.
Did you hit it on the timeline that you had put out, or
every month?
really?
Yeah.
You didn't miss one. Everyone was right on the number.
Yeah. It was 11 months total, because it was June
I've never
to June.
done that.
Yeah, well, I've missed a few since, and it's funny because prior to that, epiphany, because it was real scary for me to put those big goals out there, and I didn't just put them out there, but I told a lot of people. I got pictures in the chairs of the different ranks, and I did some posts and said, here's the date, here's when I want to do it, here's my why behind it. Previous to that,
What was your why behind it?
Each rank, there's incentive trips and such, and so one of the next rank got you a free trip to South America, and there was an academy down there, like a private school, and so I'd sponsored a child down there, and so I said, once I hit this rank, then I get to go and actually meet the kid that I've been sponsoring, and so when that happened, I took a picture with the kid that I had on my wall at home, and said, I'm coming back down here, and here's my next one for platinum, and all these new ranks. And I knew that the more I believed in myself and was able to kind of declare those goals, that I was leading a path that others were going to follow, and it just made them, I think, a little braver or whatnot through it. But it was a real massive period of growth and action. And previous to that event, I had laid out goals for every single rank in the comp plan to the very top. And those goals were not very aggressive. They actually took me to 2018 to get to the highest rank at that point. So I ended up hitting about 5 years ahead of schedule, but I gave myself a very safe curve. But looking back, I know why I set those goals. I figured if I could get to the top rank by the time it was 2018, so I'd be 30 years old, I knew what the income would be at that top rank. So I said, if I can earn that by 30 and it takes me 7 years to do so, it's a good plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good plan.
Solid. Right. So from June to June, your income goes from where to where?
What, 3 to 15.
But from about 3,000 a month
3,000 to 4,000 to 15 to 16.
to 15, 16,000 a month. A month.
Yeah, and my big goal initially was to earn 3,000 because that
Yeah.
replaced personal training in a little. And then the real big goal was $8,333.33 because
Yep,
that got me
the 6
100K,
figures.
6 figures. If I could make 6 figures at any point, I figured I'm winning the game.
Yep.
Especially my early 20s. Everything beyond that, like I remember I was hunting when I hit it. I was out in the woods in Canada, freezing, November, and commission checks were posted, and that check was $8,333.22. So I missed
No
it by
way.
like 80 or 78 cents. But it was close enough. I was like, that's it. That's the mark. And I've hit some pretty nice numbers since then, but I distinctly remember that goal and where I was. I can remember the cut line I was sitting on. I remember how cold I was feeling. It just burned in my mind more than any other number because that was the big goal at that point.
Right. So when did mom and dad start liking your business?
Well, they liked it right away.
I know, but when did when did they go, well, you made the right choice?
Right from November 2011, when
Okay.
I quit, it was over Canadian Thanksgiving. I made that decision. So they actually sat down with me and looked at my finances, and I said, "Here's what I got saved. Here's what my income is, my cash flow. What do you guys think?" And they were kind of the ones who said, "We think you should do it, and we support you." So I didn't have that coming from home because I know a lot of people.
Right.
It's the opposite. They're saying, "You're throwing your life away. What are you doing?" They were of that same belief of, what's the worst that could happen? We think you can do it. We've seen your tenacity all throughout your childhood.
Right.
They always tell a story when I was, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 years old, something like that, early childhood. And we were at some county fair or whatnot, and they said I waited in line for like 3-4 hours just to climb a stupid rock wall. And it was hot out, and it was just silly, but I was so determined. And they said they knew at that point that whatever I kind of put my mind to, I would do it, even if it was uncomfortable once, and even if it was kind of stupid at the time, that when I put my mind to something, I'm really hard to change that perception, that opinion.
We're talking about some of your income numbers, and they're certainly not we're not making any claims that anybody that's watching this will make the kind of money that you're making. Because today, what's your best month you've ever had?
105?
$105,000 in a month, okay? And that's after how many years? That's
That
after
was
4 years.
That was 4 years
in.
on. So I quit in November of 2011, and that was my November 2015.
November 2015, $105,000 in a month.
Yeah.
So 2015, you made approximately how much?
Probably just around that million mark.
Right around $1 million over the course of just that calendar year. That's not any representation that people are out there are going to earn that. This is just kind of I use the numbers to talk about what's possible, not what is guaranteed or even probable for somebody else. Because there's people who joined your company same day you joined,
Yep. There's a million people who joined before me.
and did not have the results that you had. What do you think is the difference? You weren't involved early at the beginning of the company.
No.
You weren't at the top. You didn't get any special consideration. You're starting young without any particular background in this profession. What makes you different?
I made a decision that I wasn't going to use excuses anymore. Before I started seeing some success and stuff, I blamed people. I would blame either upline or comp plan or any of the things that many of us have used an excuse for, and I found all the reasons why it wasn't my fault that I wasn't doing better. And the day I made the decision I was not going to use an excuse anymore, probably was at that Bob Proctor event, that convention. The day I decided, hey, it's not about anybody else, but my ability to really hammer this out. And if I don't quit and I really stick to my guns, I read the 4-year career on that time frame, which kind of laid out again that 4-year time span. So it was really cool to see what we've done in 4 years. And I just knew it was, if I consistently did it for that time period, geometric progression would take place. The model made sense to me, and I just decided I wasn't going to quit.
So determination
Determination for sure.
was one, but it can't just be determination.
Yep.
What else? What else makes you different?
I think, especially compared to younger people, I was highly, I was investing myself more than I would say most people do, whether it's through events. I've been going to major events for my entire career, whether it's GoPro or convention, and then making sure that every single time I'm bringing more people to that event. So the first time I went to convention, first few times I didn't have people with me, and then I consistently went from like 6 to 30 to a couple hundred. Same thing with GoPro. First time we went with like 3 people, then 6, then a couple hundred, and then buying tickets for next year. We're picked up a couple hundred tickets, and so I just know that through an event, I made the biggest decisions in my career. If it wasn't for that convention, I don't know if I had made those same decisions. And then every event since, when I brought people, I've seen other people make those decisions. We're coming off of a couple hundred people at an event this weekend, and again, decisions were made. So I think that's a persistent factor we've always been really driving, and that was before we necessarily even knew the value of it. You know, reading GoPro, seven skill, closest thing to a magic bullet, putting people in events and making them have the opportunity to have those decisions too will transform. It did transform ours.
So if I'm listening to your story, I hear, number one, you made a decision that you wanted to grow this. Now, you didn't have $1 million goals at the beginning.
No.
You had a $3,000 a month goal, right?
Yep.
And you had a long time frame to get to the top, even if it took you all the way till 30 years old. But once you hit the 3,000, you went, maybe I can
Do a little more.
go a little faster, right? So one was making the decision to start. Another was keeping active, always keeping active. A third one was, like you said, that determination, that you weren't going to be stopped. You'd stand up 4 hours in the sun waiting to climb the rock wall. It doesn't matter. You're climbing the rock wall before you go home.
Yeah.
It's happening, right?
And I think I had a lot of fear of not succeeding. So it wasn't a fear of failing. That didn't scare. The fear of not succeeding and having to go back to the gym, whether it's the same one I worked at or in the community. It's a city of 100,000 people, small enough community that people would know. I didn't want to have to go back in a year and a half, kind of with that tail between your legs, like, hey, yeah, that thing I was doing, yeah, it didn't work, like, you were right. Because a lot of people thought it was crazy, giving up security and everything that I had, that position, and to go and do this. So I really didn't want to fail in that sense. So that kept me up at night at times.
Yeah, sure, I get it. And the other thing was focus. For a young person, a lot of times you can get distracted by anything. You know, look at this, look at this, look at this, and all your friends pulling you in 1,000 different directions. You're focused.
Yeah.
You know, your ambition kept you totally focused to your purpose. And then it seemed like something transitioned. You fell in love with the contribution side of the business.
Yeah.
One was about personal stuff for you, and then it shifts, like it always does, to how much can I contribute to somebody else's life?
Yeah.
What does that feel like, to have people come up to you as a young man and say, thank you. You put me on maybe somebody older than you. You took me from a situation that was not happy to a situation where I'm happy. You took me from a situation where I was earning less than I'm worth to now I'm earning what I'm worth. What's that like?
It's hard to put in words, especially when the demographic that I've worked with a lot is people who want to be at home with their families. And I had that opportunity as a kid. You know, I have my dad at home with us all the time, but there's financial decisions that were made to have that flexibility and freedom at home with that. I know that although I wanted to have better financial future and $3,000 or $8,000 or whatever that number looked like, that driving me the entire time more was just the feeling of belonging and the ability to have a life of purpose. Because when I was in college, I didn't necessarily feel like I had a real big driving purpose, and you even when I went to become a trainer and all these different things, it filled it a little bit, having people, again, see value in what you're contributing, but it never reached the point it has with this business. I looked at this business as the ability to impact, like, not just 20 people a day or 100 people a day, but like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in a real tangible way. And so even I got more income now than I'd ever planned on ever having. But I feel like I want to work harder now than I ever have before, because I know that the ability to help people has been amplified. It's at a whole new level. If greater income comes from it, great. But I know that ability to contribute is probably more of still a driving factor. And I like helping.
Yeah. So you had this goal to be able to hit this where you're at now at age 30.
Yeah.
And you hit it at age 26. What's your goal now for 30?
Well, it's been hard to set some of those goals, because that was like an 8-year plan at that point, and it was an easy goal to set in the sense that it was already structured. We don't have a higher rank currently, and it's really easy to say my goal is to help other people at that high rank, which that is part of it. But I just want to consistently see our business perform at above what they do on an annual basis. I want to grow, but I also want to. At 30, I would love to have like thousands of people in a scenario where they're financially better off. And if all of them at some point are saying, something you said, whether it was a book you wrote or an event you spoke a keynote at, or you came out here and you just looked at me different or treated me different, and now I'm where I'm at because of it. And I've had the opportunity of seeing, you have something like that with GoPro, and in the coaching I've done with Richard Brook, and seeing people have that when you have that stage, mm-hmm. and just being able to pick up the phone and call somebody and do something for them, it's super cool.
Yeah. You wrote a book.
Yeah.
What's the title of the book?
25 to Life.
25 to Life. What would a person expect to be able to learn from that book?
I tried to fill the niche of a millennial, a young entrepreneur by writing it. It is a belief building tool. I want people to read it and make a decision to take a look at this business a lot more seriously. I think because I'm younger and I've had just less time around, maybe less scars or wounds, that a lot of people would read and go, well, honestly, if this kid can do it, then I think I've got a pretty good chance at making it happen on my own. I wrote it completely generic because I wanted people to be able to share that story, and really it's a gap. I don't know of a lot of millennials under 30 who have something like that in place. And as a title, 25 to Life, the visual picture is a life sentence. You're
Yes.
spending life behind bars in jail, and that is what we think as a society is the worst thing that we can get. And I kind of viewed my lifetime employment as being kind of a sentence. Like, it's what we succumb to. We don't think there's any other way. We just put in the time with the hopes of getting out in a decent financial setting for retirement. And I made different decisions at 21, 22 years old that allowed me to escape my life sentence. And at 25 years old, was able to have a new meaning to 25 to Life, where I've got the ability to influence and empower and help people in a way that was never possible before. And it's Richard helped me put it together.
Sure.
And he said, especially if you're trying to reach out to younger people, you need to make it short. So the thing is, short.
Yeah.
It's nice to mail because it's light, but people can read it in 30, 40 minutes in a parking lot while they're waiting to pick up their kid from dance. Cool. And it's been, again, another thing in the past 6 months that's just allowed me to contribute more.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool feeling.
Fun, right? You can get it on Amazon, right?
Yes.
All right, so get it on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com, 25 to Life.
Yep, and you can go to 25tolifebook.com, maketheescape.com. Joe and the Cash Media crew did a great video trailer for us.
Perfect. Well, as we wrap up, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to look right into that camera and talk to this audience. This audience, whether they're listening on a podcast or they're watching online or however they're consuming this information, this audience wants success in network marketing. This audience wants to become network marketing professionals. This audience, wants it so bad, but sometimes they don't really know exactly how to get it. If you're sitting down face to face with them and they are looking at you with sincere eyes saying, help me. What advice would you have for them? Why don't you give it straight to them?
The business is worth it. The effort and energy that you'll put in, the things you might have to give up, it is worth it. The ability to contribute and help is something that you can't find other places. And I've seen so many lives transformed through our profession. I'm such a huge advocate for it. And it's probably really easy to look at different speakers on stage, people who are sharp, polished, put together. You're looking at me talk and go like, well, of course he's successful. I tell you, when I leave, I take off the suit, I go to sleep like you do at night. Although I think I've made some more exceptional decisions. I've decided that I planted a flag. I'm doing this business and I'm decided to become a professional. Those are decisions you can make too. I can't make them for you. Eric can't make them for you. It reaches a breaking point where you probably will just snap and say, I'm in. I'm going to do this at whatever the cost. I'm going to attend the events. I'm going to find a way to bring my team there. And I think everyone has that different point. For me, I kind of milked the hobby for a little while until I had that big decision. And it's so worth it. And as long as you don't give up on you, yourself, your dreams, we as a society, we don't dream anymore. It's not acceptable to have these big goals and visions. And I just want to encourage you to find your dream again and understand that if it's just to help people, you want to contribute more to your charities and you want to serve more, this business can help you do that. If you are in a really tight financial scenario, this might be the business that can help you get ahead. It will make you grow. It's, I think, the biggest personal development program out there. And yeah, it's great. People really get caught up sometimes in the material things the profession can provide and that extra finances will allow you to do. But if you talk to anyone who's ever reached the upper echelon of network marketing in probably any profession, they'll tell you that those things, they're nice, but they're not the core reason. They're not the things that keep you up at night and really fill you up with a deep sense of meaning. So, there's great things out there, but the people and the profession are just special.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you paying it forward, investing into the lives of other people as you've been doing for the last 4 years and you're going to continue to do moving into the future. It's a privilege to know you, see you at this stage, watch you help millions of people around the world. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you got value. And ladies and gentlemen, our wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional, that you decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we do have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.